Ahoy there, ye old scallywag. So, we've been waiting for this moment for a couple of weeks now, but it is finally time to unlock our first ancient dragon of the Origin of Void ancient event. And this will be an altar dragon. And you know, just in case we can still get Neil, which, to be honest, is looking pretty dire at the moment. But if we can get Neil, then I think our best bet is to go with one of these ancient altar dragons. And as opposed to quite a lot of people, instead of me going for the Fire Void Ancient, I'm actually going to go with Solum. Main reason being that I've already got Ik'ez, so I don't really need another Fire Ancient ever, because I've already got one. So, without further ado, we will get Mr. Solum in the flesh. There is that beautiful little fishy. I have to say, I do really much prefer the design of Solum as well over Imun. So there he is with his glowy, glowy tail. Fab-tabulous. So Mr. Solum over here, that's 500 pieces. And now that we've done that, we can go and throw him into our hatchery. And I guess that's one thing to be aware of when you are hatching ancients, is that they do have a very long hatching time. So we're going to have to wait just under 4 days, and then Mr. Solum shall be ours. But that is one egg right there. Just look at how beautiful it is next to those war dragon eggs. Absolutely fab-tabulous. And so now that we've gotten that unlocked, of course, the only other dragon that we have from the alt that we'd have to get is Imun. Although I don't have Ash Kellen either, as you can see. So either of them really would be fine. But that is going to be dragon number 1 as part of Neil Rising. The only real problem that I've worked out, and it was actually pointed out to me yesterday, is the fact that in the UK my time zone will be changing at the end of October, which is not very far away, and that means that basically a whole week of the event is going to be guaranteed missing 1 reset a day. And I'm pretty sure, if I'm being real, that means that we are probably going to miss out on a DATS. Now, am I that bothered? No. But especially if you play on PC like me, you'll probably know from experience that just in general let's try and hit this purple tile. If not, then I'll move on after 3 more. That works. But when you play on PC, the problem with this game is just simply put the fact that, how are you going to log in the middle of the day when you're out doing stuff? Oh my god, I hate this game. Please. There we go. Normally I would have moved on by here, but I guess since I'm ranting about the game anyway, I'm just going to continue. So, yeah, when you play on PC like me, you're going to be out of the house for up to 12 hours a day. You're going to miss potentially at least 1 reset a day. And in that case, if you end up getting to a point where you're going to miss like an entire week's worth of single resets, that's pretty much it. You know, your event is over with. And so I feel you. That is going to be me in the final week of this ancient event. So 100%, it can screw over anybody. I don't really want to end on a 4 there in case we can get a 6 roll to hit that purple tile there. So I'm going to try again. Oh god, these rolls have been awful. Please. I'd rather not have that roll. Whatever. I hate this game anyway. Like I said, it looks like our roll luck isn't going to go the way that I wanted it to. Let's just leave it for now. But a DATS as a whole is going to be the questionable one mainly, because getting 1 extra ancient isn't actually that difficult. Like, we can just grind that out in the dungeon if we want to, especially since we're likely not going to see another burnout week. So, you know, we will just see what happens, see how close we can get. And, you know, we could always get a big drop of a DATS, so I haven't completely given up as of yet. But you do have to be aware that if you are going to miss like 1 reset a day, your chances of getting a DATS, since they increase the amount of guaranteed chests you have to open, very, very low, realistically. But anywho, skis, we also have a cake craze going on, if you didn't see, which does have another Halloweeny dragon in the form of Eyeball, which you can see I've already got a duplicate for him as well, so I don't care. But we've also got the ECs as well. So if you want to pick up some more board currency, which if you're in my position, you definitely need it, then you'll have to do Cake Craze, but these rewards are just so boring. They're just so very boring. But I guess we always have the incredibly fun dungeon to do, am I right? Another joke. I'm sorry. I can't take this game too seriously in itself. It's just, it gets so boring sometimes doing like the dungeon over and over and over again. But you know, it's just one of those things, one of those DML things where for recent memory, dungeon is just something that you have to do whether you like it or not if you want to get the main reward dragons, at least the altar dragons. Obviously you can get the board dragons and that without doing dungeon, but you know, if you want to get the main reward dragons like Neil, you gotta do all the different parts of it. So, suffer together we shall. Now, in terms of the dungeon, I haven't really been hard grinding this week either. Especially if our chances of getting Neil are quite limited. That's just basically made me think, well, what's the point of trying whatsoever? So, we may indeed just not actually walk away with Neil this time. You know, it would have been doable with the old chests, as in the guaranteed chests being lower like before, but just for this event they decided to increase it again back to 220, which is just very annoying because there was no actual need for them to do that. They just wanted to, and I guess screw everyone else, right? Typical DML things. But on the plus side, if we won't be doing the rest of the event, I guess we can just ignore things, not care too much, which is fine. I don't actually care about what's going on with this Void event, if I'm being honest. My main interest and concern actually lies with what's happening after this Ancient event, because you know, we could expect some sort of primal event if they're going by the same schedule. However, there's also the potential for them to start bringing out those new style of events that they want to start trying out. And those are the things that I think are either going to make or break DML. Like, maybe the meme of the game ending in September didn't quite come true. But if the next set of, like, major-esque style events that they want to, you know, pretend are coming after this ancient divine event stuff, then, you know, if they're not good, it's going to be really, really concerning for the, you know, longevity of this game. I mean, as a whole, I think Dungeon has killed lots of people. Maybe not literally killed, but I think it's definitely killed their motivation and definitely killed their want to keep playing the game. Like, lots of people just give up and leave because it's like, they can do Dungeon, but they don't want to do the dungeon. I think just a lot of things like that in this game have forced a lot of players, long-term players even, to leave. And, you know, I don't even blame them. I genuinely don't even blame them. But hey-ho, we'll see. You know, what if it does become arena meta again? I mean, not gonna lie, I'd be kind of interested if it did. Just because, you know, we've been living this sort of DML life for so many years now. And everything's just so sigil reliant these days as a result of that as well. So it would be very interesting to go back to like a main 3-dragon team meta. And then all those people that have invested all of their resources and time into a dungeon team, well, screw you, I guess. Yeah, super screw you guys. But, you know, I guess we will wait and see in the coming days what's going to happen. It won't be too long, probably a couple of months max, and then we'll know what's going on. But I would say right now, if you're going to say what can you do to improve your team, anything like that, I'd actually say don't spend anything right now. Just save your resources, grind out this Ancient event as much as you can with what you've got. So let's be honest, Void Ancients aren't exactly the best dragons in the world anyway. But I would say save your resources right now, because anything could change after this. And I keep saying it, but I think people aren't really going to understand until they've spent all their resources, and then it's like, oh hey, look, the entire game has changed. Which, it might not. It might be very similar, but just in case, you don't want to feel really bad about it, right? Like, imagine if you had the ability to not waste all of your resources. Wouldn't you prefer that, to be in that situation, so that you didn't feel like a big dum-dum? Well, I know that that's the ball that, or the park that I'm going to be sitting in for now. But, you know, whenever we do get some more news, I will of course let you know. what is coming up in terms of news reveals. It's normally on the main DML social medias, like their Facebook page, sometimes their Instagram, things like that. But we shall see. For now, I've just been really chilling in this dungeon. We got lucky a couple of times here just because I'm just not really focusing too hard on the quests, but you know, we're just going with the flow. These weak attack quests in particular are just very annoying to do, which we do have the dragons for it, but I don't have the patience for it. At least not today. Usually on the weekends I have more patience, but not today. No thank you. Any other time, please. But what I will say is that there's probably going to be a lot of stuff that players are going to wish they did during this event, or maybe even didn't do during this event based on what comes out next. For instance, if someone ends up spending all of their gems on Neil and then say they start bringing out Oyas and Bahajirs again, people are going to hate themselves. But we can't look that far ahead, obviously. That's just completely guessing at that point that those dragons are going to come back out again. But it's been years! Been years! It's not like we're asking them to re-release an Ancient Divine that's just been released. Like, we haven't seen Oya in years at this point, and it's getting kind of ridiculous. It's getting very ridiculous. All I know is if we can just get at least one or two of the good ones to come back out again, especially Bahajir, Lisk even, I think a lot of players will be really happy about it. Maybe you'll even get some returning players at that point, but I'm sure they've got all the statistics and everything to show what people are buying or not buying. But hey ho, spaghetti-o. I guess my main thing here today is I just wanted to show off a quick dungeon run of me not focusing too hard, but you know, now that we've got Enroja in particular, you know, the team does work slightly differently, and, you know, we can play it a lot of different ways, really. I guess we need to hope that we don't get targeted by him, so I'm going to kill the plant dragon, but there's a slow burn user, that's fine. Just as long as we don't have any massive plant users, we're usually okay. But what does happen with these runs for me, especially this dungeon week, is just suddenly there will be a Purity Daredevil user that will immediately one-shot me, which is very pleasant. Sometimes I don't even see them and my dragon's already dead, which is wonderful. But against these sorts of enemies, I tend to prefer having my metal user, Erlang Shen, out, just because, you know, he can do a lot better against them, and we don't have to rely on, like, burnout them. But it depends on what we've got going on in terms of team at the time. You know, right now we've got our healer in, which has been nice for the plant users. But just getting all of the main dragons out when you've got more than 3 team members without one of them dying is really annoying. Like, if I want to use my Lantern Dragon and I want to use Erlang Shen and Nezha, even though I'm going to start off with Enroja, it can be very annoying trying to just make sure the team doesn't die. But, you know, one major benefit of having Ancient Divines is that you've just got lots of different options for how you want to play your turns out. Like, without having an Ancient Divine, like, you're forced to use Bless at certain turns, or you're forced to use Leech at certain turns to stay alive. But, if you have Mr. Enroja, for example, that doesn't happen. Which is a great thing about having Ancient Divines as well. So, I would expect them to release them at some stage. I don't know when, I don't know how, but that is my expectation at some point. How soon, we will find out. But for right now, we are just waiting. Waiting. Can we survive this with no shield? I kind of want to know. Let's find out. Let's find out if we can survive that without a shield. Well, they missed anyway. Okay then. Okay, enemy dragons. That's fine. That is fine. See, sometimes in dungeon runs you get really lucky like that. Other times you may get really screwed over by, you know, Shadow and other similar abilities. Burnout, especially Void users, but usually with Void users you can predict them better. Because, like, if you know who's coming up next, you know who the Void user is going to be, right? So there's a lot that you can do to know what's coming up in the dungeon. I want to see how much damage we actually take. That was a decent amount. So yeah, these are definitely the sort of dragons that we'd need a shield up with, but you see how much damage that plant is? That's sort of why I wanted to check how much damage we were going to take without a shield. It's a lot. It's a lot of damage. But, you know, that's what dungeon runs are here for, just to, you know, have a chill time, see what sort of damage output the enemies have, that sort of thing. We may die this turn because of all the plant uses. Like, look at how much it goes up and ramps up by. I mostly just wanted to, you know, see the damage output, but it's fine. A lot of many trillions. See? I love it. We could have gotten up to 2k, but I just wanted to do that for the sake of just seeing how much it was going to come to. So either way, we're up to the purple chest now. Obviously very delayed getting there just because I haven't been on it like a carbonate as we should be for these dungeon weeks. But that's also the case when you can't log in every 6 hours on the dot. It's just the way that things are, really. But at the same time, you know, we've got basically 5 days of resets still to continue with. So roughly, that's a very chilled out version of my runs with Enroja now. You know, easily you can get 1500 plus without even thinking. If you are focusing on the quest, you can get like 2500 now. But, you know, Ancient Divines definitely help a lot. So I'm hoping that they're going to re-release some of them. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. I guess we'll be here to find out. And obviously having lots of epic sigils also helps a lot. My next goal would be another epic acceptance, but that's probably going to be like, no meme, probably another year now. Especially if they stop giving them in the dungeon. Like, have you seen the dungeon shop this week? It's awful. It's absolutely awful. It's just full of decorations. Like, who cares? Who cares? I don't care. Give me something useful. Like, this is terrible. That could have been a dungeon chest. But I guess we suffer for now. So, for now, I guess we shall continue on with our grinding. We will see how many more chests we can open up, see if we can get Neil or not, but it's going to be very close for me. But I wish you the best, and if you are not a PC gamer, you're probably going to have a much easier time. Just being honest. Damn you and your portable devices, mobile players. But anyway, I appreciate you joining me here today, and until next time, I hope to see you then.